Ty?
With me, it's anything that has to do with energetics. I've been fighting all my life. And so, although the martial aspect interests me because I like doing it with finesse instead of brute force, especially as I'm over 60, um, that
But looking good for it.
yeah, but anything
You make 60 look good. I'm not as afraid of it as I would be. I'm 56, so.
well, yeah, I've got you by 10 years.
Yeah.
So, it keeps me going. I like the fact, too, that when I'm dealing with younger, stronger, faster people, that they're still impressed by my ability to handle them. But I'm really just enamored by anything that has to do with the energetics, the Fagang, anything, just energy. Doing
Now,
the
is it? Would you say that you enjoy the feel of it more, or it's just the mental intrigue, the interest, the oh that's cool kind of factor, or just getting a better idea of what's possible and possibly lots of things I didn't say. So
Probably the main thing is constantly learning that more is possible. That okay, I knew this was possible, and then I find out that I can do this on the combat side of it, and then I'll learn I can do this with the healing side of it, or that I get a clear understanding of who I am and how I relate to the rest of the universe by studying the energy. And just so anything that has to do with energy work is what I love.
cool. Yeah, for our system, there's a lot of it, and for any of the real Tai Chi, the problem is that for a lot of folks that's the part that's kind of taught indoors, and we're teaching it openly for people who come and to you guys and us and or do the videos seriously. But for a lot of folks, they'll have people in the school for 10 years plus before they ever get to see anything that really starts to really be energetics, and that's unfortunate. We're working on changing that. For the betterment of
Unfortunately, it
people.
seems to be something that scares people away.
Sure.
That
Yeah.
I almost have to tell some of the senior people who work with me, they're here for the first time. The stuff you're talking about is going to scare them away.
Yeah, you can't do it because they don't understand. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Cool. And then what are you calling you, Brujo? Yeah. Okay. Who have I left out here? Matt?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah. So I guess I'm kind of with the other guys. What I work on, change. Like, I have a thing that I'm working on that changes kind of constantly, and a lot of times it changes because I have a bigger goal in mind, and I need, like, I'm working on if I want deeper root drop, I'm really working on deeper root drop, and so there's certain aspects of that you can focus in on that might be impeding you. And so, like, one of the things may be that you really need deeper sung in order to get deeper root drop. And so now all of a sudden I'm off on a tangent for better and better sung and trying to improve that in different ways. And then I'll discover some other thing related to that, and then I really focus in on that. But I do always kind of keep the bigger picture in mind, of whatever the thing is I'm really trying to get out of all of this, and I really always try to bring it back to kind of that thing until I feel like I own it, at least at a level. Because I don't really feel like I own any of it at Sigung Clear's levels, like what and what I know is possible from other teachers that he has, that I've been in the same room with. I'm not anywhere near that level with any of the skills, but there gets to be a point with it where with each piece where you can kind of confidently then move on and examine another piece, and then move on and examine another piece from every which angle you possibly can. And then there comes the putting them together, and trying to combine them and use different skill sets together, in dynamic situations and in your form. And so it all connects in a way where the sum is greater than, or the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Um, and what you get out of it is so much more and so much better, than any one little aspect of it is. And so it's always worth putting in the time on any one of those aspects, because when you get it and then you insert that into what you've already got, it magnifies what you've already got. And so it's really hard to hone in on really like one thing. But I would say that the theme that I'm always after is like mind over matter. That kind of thing is really why I got involved in the Tai Chi, including the energy work, and the Fagong that people have mentioned, that kind of stuff, that mind directed energy, and that mind body connection, anything that really has to do with kind of the role of the mind and how it operates, and the kind of power that it can really have over the physical world and in the physical world. That is of primary interest to me, and has been for a long time. And I knew that Tai Chi was connected to it, but I didn't realize how deeply Tai Chi was connected to those principles, until I began studying with Sifu Clear. And now that I know, it's just, it's like I said before, it's off to the races. It's the more I can get, the better. And so, the specific thing I'm working on is always changing, but what I'm always kind of after is that better mind over matter, better perception of, of the world, and with my mind, and with every part of me, with any part of me, I can get more online, more peak experience type stuff. That's always kind of what I'm after. And then, the tactics shift, but that's always the goal.
I really enjoyed that research and the work, and the mental stimulation, and then the physical stimulation, and then the spiritual stimulation that comes from really being in there and researching and playing with it, and in terms of trying to figure out how much and more, and all the different aspects of what can be done and how to do them, and all of that too. And that, I would say, that's one of the bigger themes for me longer term. Is it's like, it's almost like a really good video game where you're trying to get to another level and you're having to go through all these things to get there, and then you kind of solve that, and now you've got a new cool level with other stuff to do, and you go through there and then you basically master all of that, and then there's another cool level of things to do. And it really is very mentally, like I say, and spiritually and physically stimulating and interesting in that way. And then the benefits that come from that are numerous, and all of that, but they're almost a byproduct more than they are like the thing, unless you're talking about something like fixing your back, like I did for me and some of the guys here have had to do, and that kind of thing. And then that becomes your most important thing for that period of time, because it really is, there's a big difference in what you notice between being healthy and well, and smooth and fluid and in the flow, versus broken up and not. And so, but then the rest of the time, it just kind of has this really, when I say cool factor, I don't mean cool to the external, but cool like, hey, this is cool. I like it. This is neat. So yeah. Matt. He'd spoken and he disappeared.
I was done. I didn't realize
Okay. No,
you were
good.
chiming in on my thing. I thought you were starting new, but yeah,
No,
absolutely.
I was talking about what you were saying.
Absolutely, that's I think, and Greg said, I think, he put it really well earlier, that Tai Chi is like the greatest experiment in the world. It really offers a framework for exploring all of these really awesome, fascinating concepts, and really getting answers, but testable, provable answers that you can, experience yourself, and then compare notes with others. that to me is the greatest gift of Tai Chi. I think of it as like the scientific method for the kind of zanier, more out there stuff that science doesn't really, that Western science doesn't really want to examine yet. And
Or, well, they don't want to admit it yet. There's been studies and stuff done and experiments and everything else, but then you find most people go, oh, that's not possible. And then you start doing the research into what's there. And it's like, oh yeah, they've tested that. They know it's a thing. It's just, they kind of went, ha, and backed off of it and then pretended it doesn't exist. There's a couple books out there that talk about studies that have been done where they were like, no, this is the evidence that came back. So
yeah, but it doesn't fit into the framework yet, unfortunately. But with the Tai Chi, it doesn't matter. I'm not relying on scholars or experts or anything else. I'm really getting hands-on feedback, and in the process, I'm not just getting an academic understanding of those things. I'm developing real skill with them and real power. And like I said, that mind over matter stuff.
Functional, not just book knowledge.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool, man. All right, Jim, did you speak to this yet?
Yes, I weighed in. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody on the call that I hadn't have weighed in on this so far? Okay. What are your long-term personal goals with Tai Chi? Harry?
I want to be able to do this into old age. I want it to help carry me into old age. I know that it is multiple lifetimes of learning. So as far as there's no like I want to get to this, there's no real point, because I also realize that there is so much left to learn that I don't even know I need to learn yet, and to practice and make skill. So the goal is to just keep going until I can. So.
Well, the good news is Tai Chi done well and right, as long as there's not some other mitigating factor, big accident, or just the genetics from
well, and God forbid,
really bad genetics. And even then, I seem to be showing that the genetic thing can really be dealt with a lot, or combated with the Tai Chi and all that. Because by my family stuff, I would have been dead, over 6 years ago. And I'm still like in the peak of health, and by peak of health, I mean like really like outdoing the 20-year-olds kind of a thing on physical stuff too. And so it is doing what I had originally understood it would do, and I'm living proof of that. So it's yeah.
Well, and so the other point to that too is, God forbid there is some tragic accident like breaking your back. In 4 places. That's not the time to begin learning Tai Chi. So how fortunate that we have spent years and years and years and will continue. So if something should happen, it can help us then. When somebody is incapacitated to a degree, that's not the time to be teaching them, unfortunately. So we're lucky to be doing this.
We have to help bring them back to health with the Qigong, and then they can start getting into Tai Chi to take care of themselves. But ideally, they had started all that already.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Art?
Well, to some extent, I would have to agree. Well, I agree with what Harry said, that and everybody said Tai Chi is ongoing and no one's reached an end point yet. So again, as far as my goal, it's just to keep practicing it and learning more from it and developing skill in the various aspects of it and building on that too. While there isn't a set end point, there will just be sort of a goal and a goal and a goal of the next step, sort of. I want to get to the next step in development and the next step after that, and add more skill and ability. So my long range goal, I guess, to say would be to keep improving at it, keep practicing and keep improving.
Okay. Cool. Ty?
Please have Harry go last from now on. He's so eloquent. You would think he makes a living from speaking.
Hey now.
But really, there is no end point, and so it's very hard to say, you know, what my future goals are. I just want to keep going.
Just want
That's
to keep it going on. Okay.
Yes.
Matt? You're on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
So my long-term goal with it, to be very specific, I have to share with you a story that I heard from Uncle Bill. Is that okay, Sifu?
Yeah.
Okay. So Uncle, I don't know how many people on the call know this, but Uncle has an ability that can really only be called psychic. He has a certain kind of mind skill and perception that whatever the operating mechanism of it is, it looks and acts like psychic skill. And so for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to call it that. And he has a special, or he had, his brothers are all dead now, but he had a special sort of bond with them, where they could really communicate long distance. They knew what like each other was thinking when they were on that kind of wavelength, and they were wanting to communicate like that. And like they grew up together, so they knew that this was a thing. They compared notes afterwards, and it was like, yeah, that was what I was trying to get across, and that kind of stuff. So there was no mystery to them that they could communicate like that. And what Uncle has said is that now that his brothers have passed, it's not different. They still communicate like that. He still has that long distance mind.
The only bad news about that is they fight a lot and have fought a lot, and you can tell that one of them's thinking something, and Uncle's like, "Oh, my brother, and back to that." But anyways, go ahead.
But so I guess that's really my my kind of long-term goal, is to have that much sort of mind integrity and spiritual integrity that I'm able to communicate back from the other side. Like that's long-term. Right now, that's that's kind of what I'm after. That goal may change once I'm over on the other side and I discover how much deeper the whole rabbit hole goes. But for the time being, I think that's as far into the future as I can kind of see and have heard tell of. That's where I'd like to be.
I guess I'd worry that they're going to try to capture your soul. Oh, there's somebody really there, and try to capture your soul in a bottle or something. Anyways.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'll have the skill to avoid that. I do not want to become a genie. I will make
Yeah, no. Jim?
Yeah, just, I guess the same in line with a lot of other folks, wanting to, carry this on and, be that guy that's in his 90s out there in the park, practicing and, being able to still move and have a good, I think my emphasis would be more on a good quality of life. You just don't want to
Being able to have fun. Yeah.
don't want to be just around, you want to be that 95-year-old that's giving the classes in the old age home and all those young 85-year-old chicks saying, boy, he's got some body.
He's got good energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that, you got to realize too is that, the Tai Chi not only has, the physical aspects, but the mental acuity and the mental, it's the energy, the mental, and you don't want to be that old guy that's yelling, "Hey kids, get off my grass!" It's you want to have that. I find a lot of people that study this and turn it into a lifestyle have a very good outlook on life, and that's also very important.
Very balanced. Yeah, absolutely. Cool, man. What are your long-term goals as a Tai Chi teacher? By the way, we're almost done with this. I just wanted to get these last couple things in. So what are your long-term goals as a Tai Chi teacher? And let's go back through the order we did before. You guys kind of know what order that was in. So I think we started with Harry last time. Although you want me to finish with Harry?
You better go with Ty.
Ty, go ahead. Ty, you're on mute.
you know, a lot of people talk about leaving a legacy, and I want to make sure that I leave a certain Tai Chi legacy. Not necessarily that I have 100, 200, 300 students, but 2 or 3 that take it seriously and use it to live a better life, and also use it to help other people live a better life.
Cool. Yeah. Harry, you want to go last or you want to go next?
Oh, I'll pipe in since I'm already
Okay.
there. And so exactly ditto to what Ty said. And one of the things that I want to bring up is one of the things that it can turn certain people off. So I want to make sure that it's presented properly. And that is that I never ever viewed doing this as a business. That was never a goal. However, if the teaching is sincere and you're really looking to help people, then I do look at it as something else I can do into old age that will appropriately bring in some money. It's not going to make me rich. That's not my goal. But there is nothing wrong with the equal exchange, and the amount of money and in travel and fees for courses and stuff is significant over the years and will continue to be. So there's nothing wrong with making that back. So a goal is, as a teacher, as I get older, is not to necessarily develop some empire, but I will run a business. And what I really want to be a part of doing, and it can be very hard to not sound elitist in saying this, but I want to be a part of spreading quality Tai Chi, your Tai Chi, Sifu Clear, and representing you well throughout the years, and making sure people are not getting just the empty dance of the form. I really want to pass on the quality stuff as best I can. This is what we call dead air in radio. There's silence. The song ended, and I can't make the next one start. There's silence. Sorry. Okay.
The other thing I would say about that is that for me, when I was in my 20s, and I've got, by the way, I've got a bachelor's degree, you know, the 4 years of college and the cost of that. And I've spent way more than that on my studies and for the teachers. I mean, if you, not that we're going to China these days in the age of coronavirus, but in the early 1990s, when I went to China 2 different times, it was over $5,000 then each trip. And then to get to my teachers that I've gone to all over North America and that kind of thing, the plane flights and the travel and the hotel expenses and the you know, and the cost of study because they do need to be paid for their time and should be and all that stuff. So I've got way more in this education money wise than that. So it is that fair exchange thing you're talking about. Somebody that says, hey, I want to learn for free, or I think you should be teaching it for free, but you spent, you know, over $100,000 easily, probably for me, somewhere between upwards of $500,000. And I'm like, why should I give you $500,000 worth of education? You know, that's crazy talk right there. But anyways, and so the other thing for me, fortunately, when I was probably mid-20s, might have been almost 30, one of the things that hit me, and I was in the workforce at that point, was that you know, almost anything else I do, I would hit that age where it's like, okay, you got to retire now, and you're just not as valuable, especially when we're looking at being in the age of technology. It was, you're going to become obsolete in terms of what you know and skill set, and you're going to have to go back to school and learn. And even then, do they want, well, I'm going to be helping you out with that now, or do they want, okay, hey, thank you for calling, da 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 da, and we're here to help you today. You know, they're going to want somebody that's alive and energetic, and ideally, not ideally, but for most companies, for them, ideally, they're paying less money because that person doesn't have the time and the experience. So not only are you maybe a little bit slower, a little bit longer, and outdated, but you cost more because you've been doing it for 40, you know, you're 40 years in the workforce then, or whatever it is. And so your value really, from a work standpoint, tends to go down. And all of that in Tai Chi, and you know, and some of the martial arts, not all of them, the older, more decrepit, more you get, the more you're worth. You get the idea. And so that hit me then, and I wasn't sure how that would play out, but I found that to be true. As long as you're still really seriously studying and have the knowledge and are working on it, it becomes that. So anyway, so for me, that had a cool factor, and also the longevity of it, and also what you find for retirement. Just to say this too, most people within a year or so of retirement die due to like the lack of activity and the lack of mental stimulation and everything else. And so when people ask me, what am I going to do when I retire? It's like, well, what I'm doing now, except just more of the fun stuff and less of the part I don't like. You know, a lot of I have to write up documents and do different kind of marketing and stuff. Ideally, that part will be kind of less, or that I've already got it. And the interacting with people and the fun stuff and all of that, that'll be more. That's yeah. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was all done. Thank you, CP.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Is Qi real? The word Qi is the Chinese word for energy. And energy is everywhere, all around us. Physics says so. The question is not, does energy exist? Because of course energy exists. The real question is, what forms of energy can human beings tap into and use? My name is Richard Clear, and internal power is what I do. After over 40 years of continuous study and research, I created a one-of-a-kind online program that my students are raving about. In it, I revealed the secrets of effortless internal power. The program has had so much success, I decided to take it to the public. In fact, the results are so powerful that I put a money-back guarantee on it. Find out more about this incredible program at internalpowerkeys.com.
Our Ethernet had gone out, or they had installed Ethernet that's not working, and so he is here to fix that. So he's a great guy, by the way, and does a solid electric business and all that. And so anyway.
Keep your energy spots.
Yep. Okay, so who was next? Who have I not talked to here? Yep, go
I
ahead.
can go.
Yeah.
Because I want to work with people with either without any Tai Chi background and develop them from the beginning with a solid skill set. What you teach, so teach the energetics and the form also, and give them, as I say, a good foundation initially to work with, or work with people who have maybe what is called the choreography, the dance, which might be good in the sense of smooth and flowing, but without real power or substance to it, and introduce the energetics aspect of it to help them develop their Tai Chi for power and for health also, because again, as has been mentioned, a lot of times Tai Chi is just given as sort of, or taught as sort of an empty dance without real martial value or health value, besides maybe the most basic health value of some relaxation, but not anywhere near the potential that it has to actually help people or help people help other people. So that is what I want to do and continue to do.
Cool. Who has not spoken yet on this?
I think if I might get in, before I have to meet
Please. Yeah.
some elders over at the school, we're tearing it down.
Oh my.
Yeah, just moving a lot of stuff. It seems like the most important moments for me with the teaching have been when the students have come back to me and said, hey, I was in an argument. I just had a fellow yesterday that during class said he was in an argument with somebody, and they were very violent. They were very animated, waving around, and he said, but for once in my life, I wasn't afraid. He said, I took a half a step back and I adjusted myself, and I knew that, whatever was going to happen, that they'd be able to deal with, physically, which was nice. And then, there's always the students that are battling different things. We have, a fellow with advanced diabetes, and, he's very happy to be at class, and he feels like it's helping his body combat the disease, and so it's moments like that that really help. And even with some of the kids I've taught over the years, I'm still getting emails back. And one of the guys posted a really nice thing on Facebook the other day. I haven't seen him 15 years, 12 years, and he still stays in touch and remembers the Chinese arts out of all of the stuff that that I was able to show him. So
Cool.
so yeah, so it's for me a big part of the teaching is the feedback from the students, and that they appreciate what they're learning or what you're showing them, and it helps them.
Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Was that everybody? Oh, Matt. Yep. Go ahead.
Yes, so what I like the most about teaching, what I kind of appreciate the most about teaching,
And what are your long-term goals?
And what are my long-term goals? And so so what I like the most about it is, for those of you who don't know, I used to be a magician, and I really like the astonishment, that amazement, that wow factor that's on people's faces when you really, land a trick. And with Tai Chi, you can get that same kind of astonishment a lot of times, and that sort of awe inspired interaction with people, and it's not a trick. It's something real. And so that is really awesome for me, personally. That's what I love the most, is those kinds of moments with my students, when they're having that, like, wow, it really works like that kind of a moment. And my long-term goals with it, really, it's a little different for me, because my situation is that I teach at Sigung Clear's school, and the main reason I do that is that I work for Sigung Clear directly in many capacities, and I consider it a privilege to do so, because I looked for him, for someone like him, for 20 years. And actively searching and traveling and putting time and money into trying to find someone who had come before, who had really kind of gone around and gathered the skills as a professional in the martial arts, which, I am not, or well, I am now, but I was not.
You are. Yeah.
And so,
Just so you know.
I spent 20 years looking for that really hard. And I know firsthand that there are lots of other people like me who want those kinds of skills, and who want that kind of teacher, and who don't necessarily have the time or the resources that I did, to pursue it, or may well give up after 15 years, and not go their whole lives not finding a teacher like that. And so I know that there are so many people out there like me who would benefit from connecting with Sifu Clear directly, that anyone that I can help bring into that fold, I consider that a contribution to the martial arts in the long term. And so that's really what I'm kind of motivated by. I just want to reach out to as many people as possible that really want this stuff, that have actually been looking for it, and it is very hard to find. And so if any of you are listening out there, you definitely are in the right place. And but that's why I do what I do. And that's why I do what I do, and that's why I teach in the first place, really, is just to try to connect more people to Sifu Clear.
Cool. I'm sorry I missed part of that. Yep. But I would say that I agree with it. It's fun to do some energetic thing that people haven't experienced before, and really be working it with them, where they really do get what's going on, but where they just didn't even know that was possible, and they kind of have that wow, moment, and then the cool factor of that, and that it keeps coming. Harry and Greg both, for a long time, every time they see me, okay, what are you going to do to freak us out this time?
It's not a weekend without Sigung Clear if there wasn't something creepy.
Creepy. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Let's see here. Was that everybody then? Yep. Yes. Yeah. All right. So a word from our sponsor. If you want to know more about levels, and obviously we've talked some about Jing level, and then there a little bit of stuff that they were talking about how to do with Shin level stuff, and these are levels in the Tai Chi curriculums. Any real Tai Chi, lineage holding Tai Chi curriculum. And so if you want to know more about what that is and how that works, then you're going to want to see the Tai Chi roadmap at the taichiroadmap.com. And that is free for you to be able to look at. There's a thing on there that you can buy some stuff if you want, but it really is a pretty good exposure and education about how that really works. So for me, Tai Chi is it's an excellent way to practice integration, use and application of my mind, my body, and my spirit. And I enjoy it. I've enjoyed it immensely. I have now for, over 30 years. That way, really back into the late 70s. So over 40 years. And I enjoy it so much that I do want to help others to get those same benefits, and the health benefits that I've got from it are very palpable and noticeable and help me every day. And being able to help people physically to have less pain and better movement and health, and mentally more clarity and more enabled to have meaningful and productive life. And then spiritually, just their mood and the outlook on life and their overall happiness and that kind of thing. I'm really, really, really into that and want people to have that and get that. The research and the study and the depth of that, and the intellectual pursuit, and then actually being able to apply that in reality through my body and with my mind and that kind of thing. I really, really like that. And the teachers that I've studied from, even when they're in their 90s, tell me that they have not seen anything that remotely looks like an end to it, that it keeps going. And so that's cool. If it wasn't like a video game type thing, if it was like, well, I want to get that little piece of knowledge and be done, then that would probably not be very cool for you. But if it's something where you're going, that exploration, that quest, that what's the next mountain look like, that kind of a thing, and what kinds of terrain is that, and what's the view from there, and how does that feel, and what kind of cool benefits and things are there. If you're into anything like that and the research and really like studying and getting knowledge and those kind of things, Tai Chi is for you. All the different Jing energy expressions and converting them into Shin and taking it to the next level and return to Wu Chi, that's probably where I spend the bigger amount of time, but it is also taking a lot of the different kind of skills that I've got, particularly at Jin and Shin level, and then figuring out how to do them faster and bigger and wider and deeper and more profound and more fully and more with less and less and less physical effort. Not because I'm trying to not do physical effort, because I like doing a lot of physical effort, but because of the ability, the mind and the spirit at work, and then really expanding that and trying to make a positive difference in the world in that way, both in what I'm able to do and then what I'm able to help other people to do, and then for like all you guys, what you're able to help other people to do and spread the love, so to speak. My long-term personal goals and what I get out of it, I am captivated and motivated and enjoy the journey itself, what it really involves, and the kind of things that I get to do and feel and experience and share. The continual discovery and new toys to play with, and I'm referring to like different kinds of energetics and all that kind of. Oh, it's like getting a shiny new toy or something, that way, and then being able to grow into that and understand. And that it's constantly more, there's not an end point. I'm not seeing anything that remotely looks like one. And it's all healthy and good for me. And so that's just the icing on the cake of that. My goals as a teacher are that before I pass on to the next phase of existence after this life, I want to help as many of you as possible to get as much skill and knowledge as I can and to help get the passion for the real journey of Tai Chi into your life and to help you pass it on to others. And so I wanted to give you guys, if there was any of you that wanted to ask me a question or any comments regarding any of that, I wanted to give you an opportunity to weigh in on that.
Well, I was actually thinking, as we were talking about, well, there's no end here. It's a journey, not a destination. And you are, so much farther advanced, and you still say and you don't see an end in it. And you've talked to people, senior to you.
Senior to me by like 30 plus years. Yeah.
Haven't seen an end to it. So
No.
I just, am boggled by all the manifestations of what must be possible or potential manifestations of energy
Yes.
at the skill level, to be there and still see nothing. When I go, wow, Sifu, he can do this. What, it's just so impressive. And there's stuff beyond that. I say, man, I guess I have my work cut out for me, But
the thing is to enjoy the journey and the process as you go, and not to be in a hurry to get to the end, especially since there's not really an end. What are you racing for?
Right.
That doesn't mean you don't study and progress, but it does mean that you're not like in a hurry to, I want to get done with that. And if the goal is to get done with that, why is that happening? And you really want to ask that question and find out. And it might be just my curiosity is like that. Well, the journey of eternity is going to be, you're going to keep picking up and learning, and there's going to be more. It just is like that.
I guess if I could give a quick analogy, it's to when I do push hands, or did push hands, and around here actually it was mostly
before coronavirus.
Yeah, right. Yeah, mostly the yang style with motion, but it would of course apply to the internal push hands. And people, one of the first things they said, and one of the things they always said was just relax more, relax. Or I'd say, well, I have to relax more. And they'd say, oh yes, so do I. And these are people who are much more skilled than me. So again, even just something as easy to relate to as relaxation, where I say, well, I have to, relax them at my level. And they're still saying that they have to relax also. I guess it's just relative and part of the process that they're just farther ahead.
I put in a little bit of work into deeper relaxation almost every day, and have for most of the time that I've been studying. And I know that the teachers that are higher up, it's the same thing. They're like, it's maybe if it was 100 miles and you're on the last foot, it's okay. I've only got 8 inches left. Now 6 inches, now 4 inches, now 2 inches, now 1 inch, now half an inch, now a quarter of an inch, now like that. And it just, even though it's what they're needing to do is very small, it just never really quite hits an end point.
And just to add that the people, they always say, well, yes, I need to relax more also. I've been doing this a long time and relaxing. So that's, my skill level.
That's right.
I'm still on the journey too, and
yep,
we're all working together.
Cool.
Just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, that's right.
I would like to just pipe in and say, I think we also need to be careful when we're talking about this with people who aren't really doing Tai Chi yet, but they're considering it. And especially if they're a little older, we don't want to scare them away with the fact that it goes so far. It's important to let them know that they can get real, substantial benefit from it quite quickly with the proper instruction.
That's right. Then that's right.
Yeah.
Well, and if they don't get those benefits, why would they stay?
Well, yes, right.
Yeah. So
but you want them to start begin with.
There's benefits at each stage. I would say the intellectual pursuit and the mind pursuit, the spirit pursuit, those other things, those come later. They come a little further along. It's not what you start with normally. That doesn't mean somebody wouldn't start there, but normally you wouldn't start there. You start, at baby steps, get those benefits, and then you get up and can walk, and then you get to where you're doing that really good, and then you start to be able to run, and then you get to where you can do that really good, and then you can fly. But it's that. If somebody wants to jump from I can't even crawl yet, I want to fly, it's kind of like, take this. You gotta do the steps. It's even though you shouldn't be locked into any given step for 10 plus years or even 5 plus years for that matter. It does mean that you did put time in at the step. I would say on the lead level, if somebody needs to put in 6 months to 2 years, of really doing that. And then once you've had that amount of time at that, now you're ready to, you keep doing that, but you're ready to add more. And it's just a matter of, it's the problem I found, the bigger problems have been when people really try to skip steps, either the teacher trying to skip steps for them, or the person just being, oh, I see you're doing all that stuff and I want to do what you're doing. And it's like, yeah, okay, but I started where you're starting at, and I'm not starting you there because I started there. I'm starting you there because if you can't walk yet and you want to run, there's going to be a problem. So yeah, cool. All right, so the steps are there, and I want to at least, and especially the Tai Chi roadmap is going to help you. A word from our sponsor, right? And the Tai Chi roadmap is going to help you to kind of see what those steps are. Most people who are probably listening to this have been exposed to the lead level, the basic first level, and getting the basic benefits of doing the form and the structure and the movement, and they're ready to understand more about what Tai Chi really does and how it does it and the stages of it and all that kind of thing. The TaiChiRoadmap.com is going to explain that in some detail. And so avail yourself of that. And if you have any questions or anything, by all means, get them to us. And we'll be happy to try to get with you and answer and all that kind of thing. And thank you for listening. Thank you guys. And we'll do more next time. And have a great week. And if I don't talk to you before the week's out, and thanks for participating today and for helping our listeners and viewers get some insight into who you guys are and what you're about and where we're all at with Tai Chi. Thanks.
Thank you, Sifu.
Thank you, Sifu. Excellent topic.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
The internal power that comes at the higher levels of Tai Chi can seem mysterious, but that is mostly because Tai Chi students don't see the big picture yet. They don't even understand what the higher levels of the art are, much less have a plan to get there. Even though the senior masters mostly agree on what the steps are, they mostly don't talk about it. On the TaiChiRoadmap.com, I outline all of the steps of Tai Chi development. Everything is explained so you know what to do, when to do it, and why. This is the complete roadmap to Tai Chi mastery with an explanation of all the steps from rank beginner to senior master. Again, that is a free course that you can access online. Go to TaiChiRoadmap.com to sign up. That's TaiChiRoadmap.com.